think that the Bucks should sit Giannis these first two games. Now, let me tell you why.
Got cool that they don't like to see you winning. They wanna see you in a penitentiary. I need me a little baby who gon' listen. Girl, I don't wanna be the one you ignorant. My mama told me, boy, make a decision.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast / We Do It All. As always, I am your host, John. Very happy to be here. JHill, my dog, what it is, bro?
Yes, sir. It's NBA Finals time. Let's get it, John. You know the vibes.
NBA Finals times, baby. You know the vibes, baby. So, JHill, bro, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I'm not even going to play. Let's just cut straight to the chase, man. There's two teams left. We got the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks, both who haven't been to the finals in centuries, dog. The last time the Phoenix Suns went to the final was 1993, and the last time the Bucks went to the finals was 1974. So, first of all, JHill, let me say, did you expect this at the beginning of the year? You didn't. No way, huh? No one expected this finals matchup.
No way. I mean, these are two teams that came out of the woodworks. They definitely made acquisitions. Well, I guess the Bucks just signing Giannis and the huge addition for the Phoenix Suns, which was adding CP3, adding, a top 10, top 5 caliber player of all time, in my opinion. And they made the right additions, but no, I did not see this coming. I mean, this was just totally out of left field. There's always a chance with a superstar like Giannis, but I didn't believe in the Bucks.
So tell me, if you remember at the beginning of the season, who did you have sitting in this finals right now?
Sitting in the finals early on, I had the Lakers coming out of the West. I thought they were the clear and obvious favorite, just coming back to back, LeBron, AD, and then in the East, I had Brooklyn with the addition, and this was before they signed or before they traded for James Harden. I had Brooklyn, so I had a Brooklyn Laker final.
Me too. And I think that most of the world had that, man.
Most of the world.
Because, and it's not even just because, those are just the best two teams. It was like the basketball junkie in us just wanted to see that, man. Like that would have been a dream matchup to watch. But I you know what? I say don't quit on it. I think we might get that in the soon coming years, man. But for now, let's talk about the teams that matter, man. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. JHill, tell me, who do you have and how many? And then let's jump into this argument, or we might not even argue. We might agree.
Mm-hmm. I got the Suns in 6.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. I got the Suns in 7.
Okay.
But okay. I gotta put a little asterisk next to it, because if the Bucks fall in love with the 3-pointer, like they did some of the games against the Hawks, I got Suns in 6, man. Because if the Bucks don't play that bully ball, right? I don't think that they're gonna really be at their best, right? So Game 5, Bucks versus Hawks series, in my opinion, that was the best game that the Bucks have played, really throughout the entire playoffs, man. They had 28 points in the paint by the end of the first quarter, man. Brook Lopez went for 33 points, shot 18 shots. Made 14 and only had one shot outside of the paint, man. So we see that when they utilize that bully ball, man, it's just not much that a lot of other teams can do. So JHill, like before we keep moving forward, like how do you feel about that, man? Do you feel like the Bucks should pack the paint, or how are you feeling about the Bucks' initial game plan?
I think that it's clear and obvious. The Bucks, their offense works well when they get paint touches early on in the possession. Whether that's the penetration of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton getting to his mid-range shot and not necessarily settling for threes, and playing through the big man. I think they have that versatility down low with, like you said, the bully ball of Bobby Portis, and as well as we've seen the emergence of him, as well as Brook Lopez, and we saw that standout performance, 33 that he had in Game 7. So I think in order for Milwaukee, they have to have, number one, the consistency of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. I think those two, they have to be the top performers. and it goes without saying, without Giannis, it's got to be Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday right off the bat. But even with them in the lineup, they rely on those guys heavily. So the consistency has to be there from that duo. And then we know what PJ Tucker brings. He's the do-it-all that no one else wants to do. He's going to do all the things that no one else. He's the janitor. He's here to clean up the mess. That's simply what he does. And then Brook Lopez, if he can get involved and kind of stay right with DeAndre Ayton in that center matchup, that's a matchup that's not being talked about a lot, but I think that's going to be a huge factor in the way this series goes. If who wins that 5 matchup.
Are you saying it's going to be a huge factor helpful towards the Bucks, or are you saying it's going to be a huge factor helpful towards the Suns? With that,
in terms of whoever wins that matchup, it's going to be helpful for whatever team. If Ayton's winning it for Phoenix, it's going to be huge for them. And if Brook Lopez is winning that matchup for Milwaukee, then it's huge for them. So whoever's winning that, basically, it's gonna
be okay. Well, JHill, I'm glad you brought up Brook Lopez, because that's my next point I got to talk to you about, man. So, we just talked about the Bucks need to pack that paint, man. Need to play that bully ball if this is the way they want to win. But there's a problem with that. There's a big problem with that. If we just saw Trae Young, the young assassin, just eat up Brook Lopez out of that pick and roll, out of that drop coverage, can you imagine what the mid-range god CP3 and Devin Booker are going to do to him? Can you imagine that? And so that is my question to you. We understand that the Bucks need to pack that paint, but you also need to play that defense. And I don't know what the Bucks should do right now, man. So JHill, let's talk about it, and let's come to a conclusion as to what lineups, maybe the Bucks should run. Do you think the Bucks should continue to run that horrendous drop coverage? Should Brook try to come up a little bit more, or is he just going to get smoked every time? How you feeling about this, Jay?
I think he has to come up a little more. We've seen what. It's almost like the mid-range game is back. CP3 has brought it back, and it's great to see as even someone in my position when I used to play in university. I love the mid-range game, and I think it's often overlooked. And CP3 and Devin Booker, that's what they're thriving on right now, and I'd love to see it back in the game, because a lot of times we forget about, like you said, the mid-range game, because today's NBA, it's about 3s and 2s and getting all the way to the rim. And I love seeing it. But in order for Phoenix, it's a high percentage shot too for them, for Devin Booker and CP. They're making it almost like a layup. So in order for them to stop it, Brook Lopez has no option other than to step up and force the drive or force them to kick. Or else, we know CP3, that's a layup. That's layup time. D-Book, that's layup time. And they also force them to get the ball out of their hands and not settle for that mid-range game, because that's going to be their downfall, which is why I don't see them. I see them maybe taking 2 games, but it's just going to create a matchup nightmare and lots of problems for them defensively, which is why I don't see them winning this series.
Yeah, it really is tick for tack, man. As I was looking at the lineup, and as I've been really just watching, all the Suns series and all the Bucks series, I've really saw the value that Brook brings to the team, because he does bring tremendous value, man. He stretches the floor. He's a big that can protect the rim, but as we both just mentioned, D-Book and CP can play him off the court. But let me ask you, do you think they actually will play him off the court to the point where the Bucks will be forced to play much more of a PJ Tucker role on Ayton? How do you think that will go? Because I also think that if the Bucks go to that PJ Tucker, it's going to be much like that Clippers series, baby. Ayton going to eat up PJ Tucker, just like how he ate up Morris. So Absolutely. What do you go with?
Absolutely. I think they're going to be forced to early on, they're going to have to hold that matchup with Brook Lopez, just simply off the fact that they're going to force the switch. It's ultimately going to come down to the switch. Brook Lopez is going to have to step up, but boom, we got that rim runner in DeAndre Ayton, and we know how he catches around the rim. And with his confidence at such a high level, even if he gets in the post on a mismatch, he's going to work. That's an easy bucket for him. The confidence and level he's playing at. So I think early on in the series, and we know how stubborn Budenholzer is as a coach. So early on, we're going to see him sticking with his game plan. Maybe they go down 2-0. Maybe they're able to split in Phoenix. I believe the first 2 games are in Phoenix. So maybe they stick with that game plan, but they're going to have to be forced to play PJ Tucker at the 5. And then, ooh, baby, it's work time. You know what they say, it's barbecue chicken, as Junior always says. It's barbecue chicken for DeAndre Ayton and PJ Tucker. I think he has that dog mentality, but he lacks the size, and we're going to see that in that matchup if they're forced to go small.
Man, and boy, are we going to see that, man? But JHill, let's for a second, let's take a step aside from the role players, man. Let's look at the players that everyone knows about, everyone is just raving about, man. That's the star players, man. That's Giannis, that's D-Book, and that's CP3. So in the season series that the Suns and the Bucks had, the Suns swept them, took them 2-0. In both games, D-Book and CP3 had more than 25, and I think it was mainly attributed to that drop coverage that Brook kept running. But I got to put this out there. Giannis is averaging a 40 piece in the series. Averaging a 40 piece in the series, man. So what stars do you think really will show up and take, become the one star, right? Because right now we don't know who's going to be the guy between CP3, D-Book, and Giannis. Like, we don't know who's going to show up and make himself like, look, I'm going to solidify a star, right? Like that last Suns game when Chris Paul went for 41, man, you could just see it in the game. He just took it over. He was like, you know what? I'm the guy. I'm the star. I'm gonna close this out. Was hitting big shots. Was talking. Getting to the hoop. Was getting in other players' ears, man. And I think that for every team to be able to pull off a win, man, what they really need to get is they really need that one. I mean, you need a team, but you really need that one guy who knows he's that guy. Give me the ball, and I got it. Between D-Book, CP3, and Giannis, who you think is gonna be?
CP has been killing it. Giannis has been killing it, but at the end of the day, it's D-Book time. It's D-Book time, and I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, CP3, like you said, in that game, he took it over. We saw it in Game 6. He took over the game, but I think for them to rely on him, he's too old, and he lacks that. To do that on a consistent basis. He just realized the time and place, and he said, I'm gonna take this game over, because he had that energy left in the tank, because he missed the first 2 games of the series, so he had that extra energy left over. But in order for them, and say this with your prediction, if the series goes 7, D-Book's got those fresh young legs, man. He's ready to take that next step, that next chapter of superstardom. And I think it's just his time. We're going to see him take over this series. I've seen the shades of Kobe in him. I'm not going to say right away, no disrespect to Kobe, rest his soul. But I mean, I just think it's D-Book time. Just for a number of reasons. He has that it factor. He plays with so much confidence, and his team just feeds off it. And we see it time and time again throughout these playoffs, regardless of injuries, regardless of who they're coming up against, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Jokic, and whether it's PG. So it's just time. It's time for, no pun intended, for D-Book to turn that page.
You're hilarious, Jay. You're hella funny. But hey, look, Jay. So I want to talk about something you just say. You said is D-Book time. You said that D-Book touching that stardom, right? He that guy. But I got somebody over there on the other team has already been in that stardom. So what is it? Why are you discrediting him, or are you just saying that D-Book is going to just simply outplay him? Do you think it's the injuries? Actually, as a matter of fact, we'll get into the injuries a little bit later on. But just talk to me as far as, man, what about that other guy, man? What about that Greek freak?
The Greek freak. The Greek Freak is a superstar himself. But just simply in the fact, and the common theme has been, what do you want in a star player? What do you want in an NBA Finals, let alone at the end of the game, someone who can close? And that's this has been the theme throughout the whole playoffs. And you've mentioned it, I've mentioned it, and a player who can't close. And I'm more confident in Chris Middleton, someone you didn't mention, or Drew Holiday closing at the end of the games. And I can't rely on, and I can't put my faith in someone who can't close, who can't shoot reliably from the 3-point line, let alone mid-range, and relies heavily on getting to the rim in late game situations. So for that reason, I just can't go with my guy Giannis. And that's not discredit throughout the game. I mean, there's no doubt about it that he can take over the game in so many ways. He's a superstar, no doubt about it. But for those reasons and relying in clutch time, because that's when the game matters. That fourth quarter, you're down, you're up, and you need buckets. You need someone to rely on. You need to drop a play and say, okay, D-Book's going to get me a bucket. Giannis is getting me a bucket, and I just can't rely on him for that at this point. So for that reason, Giannis isn't that guy for the series.
Man, I gotta agree with you, man. I had to bring up Giannis. We gotta show him the respects, because he is an absolute great player, and he is a player that, like how you said, can get you right to there, and then you need somebody to close you out, man. I don't know if there's a lot of baseball fans on here, but I know baseball, they got like the closing pitcher, right? So you bring a pitcher that brings you right to that end of the game, and then you got a Chris Middleton, to close you out. But I want to mention something. You said that Drew. You mentioned Drew and CP3. You also mentioned about CP3's age. Drew isn't that old. Drew is younger. We know a great defender. Do you think Drew will cause havoc on CP3? How do you think this Drew and CP3 matchup is going to work out?
Absolutely. I think that's right up there with that 5 matchup. That's going to be a thrilling matchup. I think CP3, where he has an advantage is the IQ and being able to use his experience to his advantage. But like you said, Drew Holiday's got those young legs. I think he's very determined. He acts as, the stopper, but he can also he's a huge part of getting a bucket for them as well. So I don't even really see matchup wise him being someone covered by CP3. I think they maybe look to switch that matchup a lot with Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, just throwing different looks at him. Because I think really it'll like you said, there'll be a huge problem if Drew Holiday gets going. And like I said, or like I mentioned earlier, Chris Middleton. So, all this relies really on the health of Giannis, because he just adds another threat to them. That goes without saying. But I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup. Right now, I have to give the edge to CP3, just credential wise, and what we've seen throughout the playoffs and what he did in that last game against the Clippers. Man, that was something I've been waiting to see from him. And I honestly go back to 2018 when he got injured against the Warriors in that series. And if you remember, he took over game 5 and then unfortunately got injured at the end of that game. And I think, and I'm very fortunate to obviously as a Warrior fan, but I think, man, if he's healthy, I don't know. I think CP, we saw what we're seeing from him now, and he was playing at that level. So,
man, I remember that. I remember that game 5. He was hitting threes on Curry, hitting his own shimmy on him. Mm-hmm. I remember, man. And when we all thought, if he played that game 6, it would have been wraps. But right. JHill, I have to stop you, man, because you said all of this is predicated on Giannis's health. All of this is predicated on Giannis's health. So I got a hot take. JHill. So I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me how you feel about this hot take. I think that the Bucks should actually sit Giannis these first 2 games. Wow. I think that the Bucks should sit Giannis these first 2 games. Now let me tell you why. So, I'm a huge believer in looking at what's working. Like what is working for other people, what's not working for other people. And history usually repeats itself, right? History usually repeats itself. We have seen history throughout this playoffs of star players trying to power through injuries and absolutely actually derailing their team and hurting their team. Let's look at it. Anthony Davis had that growing injury. Oh, I'm gonna power through it. Played the first 5-6 minutes, couldn't really help his team. 0 points, wasn't really the player he was getting exploited on defense. Trae Young, he had that he rolled his ankle. Was out there like, oh no, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get out there. We clearly saw Trae Young had seven. I believe he had 13 points and seven turnovers, and did not look like himself out there. Could not make the same cuts. Could not push off the ankle the same way, and in turn actually hurt his team, man. Because it's better to have a bench player who's fully healthy than a star who's just, man, half of himself, a shell of himself. Another player, we saw Harden, went out there, went to play on the hamstring, and, KD still was able to pull it off because that's, you know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? You know I am Kevin Durant. But James Harden looked like a shell of himself. He literally was like playing off ball, just trying to get others involved, and not really James Harden. And all those games really actually hurt their team. Now of course, my hot take is that Giannis shouldn't play those 2 games, but this is the reason why I don't believe Giannis should play those 2 games, man. Because if he powers through his injuries and gets hurt worse, like, of course, that'll be hurtful to the Bucks franchise and the series. But the Bucks know how to play without Giannis. The Bucks know how to play with Giannis and without Giannis. But what the Bucks don't know is how to play the middle ground. They don't know how to play with, let's play Giannis like 20 minutes. Let's keep him on like a minute restriction. No. In my opinion, if you're going to play Giannis, you play him as you regularly play him, as if that knee injury never happened. As if that knee injury never happened. Of course, you keep him on the bench, you ice his knee, you help him like that. But I don't think that they should play him on any minutes restrictions, because if they do that, then just don't even play him, man. Because then you're going to be trying to run an offense through a Giannis that's somewhat hobbling out there, when you got a healthy Drew and a healthy Chris who just combined for 60 points in this last game. So we see that they can do it without Giannis, man. They can do it with Giannis and without Giannis, but they cannot play that middle ground. I think that middle ground is where that's where it gets scary for the Bucks, man. So that's why I got my hot take. The Giannis should not play the first 2 games, and as soon as they get back to Milwaukee, turn it up, man. You feeling me on that or no?
I think that's a very, very good take. But my counter to that is, if I definitely agree that game 1, if he's not fully healthy to go, and I'm talking 90. Because you're never 100% as a player, especially at this stage of the playoffs. Everyone's playing with the injury, everyone's dinged up, and that's just a simple fact. But if he's at 80, 75%, it's Giannis, man. And I think especially if you lose game 1, you gotta at least consider playing him from game 2, because having that element on the floor, even if he's not at 100%, I would take a 70%, 75% Giannis, just to create another matchup nightmare, someone who the defense has to think about, and someone who can facilitate, even if he's not looking to get his own. And I think if you go down 2-0 in Phoenix and you still don't have that home court advantage, that could be very, very detrimental to their hopes. And we're already looking at a team who lacks the firepower, in my opinion, to compete with all the weapons Phoenix has, especially that big 3 with Ayton, Paul, and Booker. But I think I agree with if you can afford to steal game 1, then, man, you're sitting pretty with Giannis out. But if you lose game 1 without Giannis, I think you got to consider it. But I definitely, best of both worlds, yes, the best option, like you said, in terms of hurting the team and creating, that in-between stage where he's not healthy, with what we saw with Trae, like you said, James, KD, obviously, that was the worst case, gets a serious injury. So I think you got to consider it after game 1. just strictly for a different look. And then if he doesn't have anything, then you take him out right away. If he's looking hobbled, and if he's looking like, what it happened to AD, which was, unfortunately with a hamstring, or sorry, with a groin injury, I think that was foolish of them, bringing him out there anyway, because you have no ability to move laterally, and it affects a lot of things. With a knee injury, you wrap it up, brace, have some ibuprofen. I don't know what you got to do. Just get it going. Give them a look, and say, strike that fear into Phoenix. If they get game one, and say, Giannis is here, game plan for it. And I think Phoenix will game plan for him regardless, if he plays or not, because they just want to be ready for whatever they see.
Okay. So basically, you're not feeling my hot take.
I'm feeling it. I say, yeah. I would say I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling it if they get game one. So okay. If that makes sense. Yeah, I'm on. But okay, so then, but then I'm not feeling it. Okay, I'm not.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, I like that. Stand on what you believe, Jay.
I say game two, he's got to be out there. Game one, definitely, I agree with that. Game one, no doubt about it.
Okay. So JHill, let me ask you something, man. We our last pod, well, it was technically our we did a collab pod, man. Shout out the Big Shot Pod, man. They had us on there. It was a great podcast, man. We talked about this series and the playoffs and everything. And he mentioned on there, the Big Shot Pod mentioned that the Bucks really don't have much of a structural offense. It really more is Giannis, here you go, kind of get a mismatch, attack the hoop. If that doesn't work, hit Chris Middleton and then maybe Brook, right? They don't really have much of a structural offense. And the Suns really do have a structural offense, man. That's exactly what they have. They play really well as a team. And to me, I think that could be one of the biggest difference makers, man, because, at this level, right? At this level, you can win a regular season game just on a single player heroics and stuff like that. But at this level, at the highest level of basketball, NBA Finals, man, this is top of the top. You need to play as a team. You can't go out there and Jordan 63 it, Kobe 81 it doesn't work, man. And that is one of the biggest difference makers. Do you also agree with that, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the structure and the pace, and believe it or not, I believe that, and just structurally and how the offense flows, they flow better and there's more touches when Giannis isn't in the game. So that could also be a factor. I saw a lot of that in the last game that we saw against the Hawks, that the offense was flowing, different people were getting different looks. And I think that's why we saw the emergence and such big performances from different players all around, just because sometimes Giannis becomes the ball stopper and it can hinder and slow down the offense and the flow of the offense. So I feel like there's more structure to what Big Shot Pod was saying when Giannis is out of the lineup.
Okay. Hey, and Jay, let me ask you something. What's going to be more important in this game, defense or offense? What you think?
Definitely defensively.
Defensively
for both sides.
It's very, very, very fun that you say that, because the Suns and the Bucks are the top two defensive teams of left in the postseason, man. So defense wins championships for real.
Absolutely.
So JHill, man, to I guess put a bow on my thoughts, man. Put a bow as to why I really got the Suns, taking the championship. CP3, getting his first championship is because at the end of the day, man, the Suns don't really make too many team mistakes, right? A lot of teams in the NBA, they lose games they did it to themselves, right? Missing offensive rotations, not being there for defensive help side, not talking on defense. There's tons of things, tons of the little details of the games that the teams make team mistakes, and that ends up causing them the game. But man, all season, all playoff long, I've been really watching the Suns, and they don't really make team mistakes, man. CB3 does not turn the ball over. They know how to play. They know where to play. They know who's supposed to be where. So the Suns are really a team that you got to beat them. You really have to beat them straight up. And I don't see the Bucks really doing that in 7 games, man. Like, to keep it real with you, no disrespect to Giannis, no disrespect to Chris Middleton, but I just got to keep it real, man. I don't see the Bucks straight up outperforming the Suns in 7 games, man. How you feel, Jay? I know you agree.
Yeah, I agree, and unfortunately I see it in 6 games. Their demise in 6 games. Just number one, it all starts at the top, and I don't believe in Mike Budenholzer as a coach. I think that he's lucky to be in the position he is. Obviously, I'm going to judge a person off this is his career. It's to coach basketball and coach. He is obviously he's got the credentials to be there in this position, but I think a lot of the credit is due to his players and what they've done to get them there. And I think his game plans have been, and despite of his game plans, I think that they could have exploited a lot of matchups better than they did. They could have had matchup implementations of different game plans where they could have won a game earlier, or late game execution wasn't there. So I think like I said, it all starts at the top. And if your coach isn't preaching the right things and putting the right players in the right positions to win basketball games, then that's going to be your downfall. And that's, let alone, I think, just matchup wise, Phoenix owns a lot of those matchups. Just simply the activity. If we're talking defense, the activity of DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder, Bridges, those guys are all straps. And then CP3, he's going to bait PJ Tucker into a technical. He's going to bait, Giannis into doing something crazy, just because we saw it with PJ Tucker, just that veteran IQ. He's been there. He's done that. Obviously, this is his first finals appearance, but he gets players on his team to do the things that they need to win, and on the other team do the things, make bad decisions that end up costing the team. So for those reasons, I think Phoenix is set up for success in this series. And those players have been waiting for this. Williams has been waiting for this moment, setting up his team, setting up those values early throughout the season, putting them in late game situations, winning close games. And that's why they're at the top of they finished second in the West, is because they're winning those close games. They're beating teams like the Lakers, championship teams, during the regular season. And they've been setting themselves up for success. And on the opposite end of the scale, I think that, the Bucks have lost close games. Their players have made mental mistakes. They have Bobby Portis, who's a loose cannon. They have PJ Tucker, who's smart, but he's a bit of a loose cannon as well. And I think it's just going to be the downfall of them, unfortunately. But I think it's going to be a great series, but it's Phoenix. It's Phoenix,
man. I go Phoenix in 7. JHill go Phoenix in 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So JHill, let me ask you one last question about this, Phoenix and CP3 team, man. So D Book was stated on the record saying that Chris Paul already stamped as a point guard GOAT, regardless if we win or lose. You agree?
Greatest. So we're talking greatest of all time point guard. It's the best of all time. He
said his quote is Chris Paul already stamped as a point guard GOAT, regardless if we win or lose.
Man, I have to disagree with that take.
I got to disagree. Okay.
I got to disagree with that.
I got to disagree.
CP3 is arguably top 5 point guard of all time, but to say he's a GOAT, no, I think that's far-fetched. I think even if they win this title, he's not in that level yet. Just simply because he's had ample opportunity. He's been on great rosters, and for whatever reason it didn't work out. But to have him to make that statement, that's a bold statement by D Book. That's my guy.
That's a bold statement.
That's very, 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 very far fetched at this point. And he's close. He's top 5 in my opinion, borderline. Because there's a few point guards I had ahead of him. Namely, Magic and Steph, like just off the top of my head. But I think, that's a little too early to say that.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
too late in his case.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, I mean, a little too late because
Yeah.
it's just, Chris Paul definitely is a great player, man. In my opinion, might be a top 10, point guards of all time. But, GOAT, I just can't go as far as that. And I mean, at the end of the day, like some people say they don't value rings, but like people, when generations pass on and people who did not watch Chris Paul, all they're going to remember for, like, if he doesn't win, is the guy who never won a championship. Like, only the avid basketball lovers who like go back and watch film from when CP3 used to watch, from when CP3 used to play, will see like, oh yeah, he was a great point guard actually. But if you don't got them championships, dog, like we see that in due time, you just gonna get forgot about, man. Like players like Reggie, players like Charles Barkley, all great players, man, and they probably had a lot of respect on their name back in the day. But like our generation, we didn't really get to see them like that. So to us, they're ringless, so you can't really be too great.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you have it, everyone. That is me and JHill's prediction, for these finals. JHill's rocking with Suns in 6, right, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I gotta rock with Suns in 7, but I gotta put the asterisk. If the Bucks fall in love with the 3, it's gotta be Suns in 6. Gotta be Suns in 6. So JHill, let's talk about the our Instagram. First of all, let's shout out to IG, man. Just make sure everybody go follow us on Instagram, man. It's at Clutch Talk 1. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter. It's at Clutch Talk 1 and TikTok, all that, man. Get at us because we'll be on there. We'll be active, and that's where we drop episode updates and everything. But I want to talk about something that was posted on there, Jay. So we posted some earlier today. That was a picture of Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, and that boy D Book. And we told the people, we told the fans to rank them. We got a couple of responses here, so shout out everyone that responded. We're gonna run through the responses. So let's run through this. Let's run through this one first. So shout out to homie OVO XO JoJo. He said that his lineup is Tatum, Book, Trae, and Mitchell. How you feel about that?
I think that for me, the Tatum and D Book, I was right there with it. I was saying, Tatum's had so many things under his belt. He's got so many enough All-Star appearances. I think 2 at this point. D Book just got the edge up for me. Just simply where he's at right now. Might be a prisoner moment situation for me, but I just have to go simply who's taken their team this far. And it's no doubt about it that D-Book is the catalyst. He's the number 1 option for the Suns. So that's why the only reason I had him above him, D-Book above Tatum. And then I think that's a solid list other than the flip-flop there.
Okay. I like that. So mine personally, before I keep it going, I personally would have had Tatum, Book, Mitchell, then Trae. then Trae. But we'll talk about that a little later. Let's get into the next one, man. Shout out to homie Terrell, man. His in on Instagram is last SB. He got you. Seems like your list, JHill. He got D Book, Tatum, Trae, and Mitchell.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out Terrell.
Good list.
You for that.
Yeah.
And then we got another great page. Hey, shout out Murray Ranger, man. They sent another question, but all they said is Jamal won. All they said is Jamal won. So yeah, Jamal hey man, okay. I feel it.
I feel it. I feel it. Rep yours.
Wait, hey JHill, who's this? Just kidding. JHill commented his lineup, and that's D Book, Jason Tatum, Trae, and D Mitch.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I like that. I like that. All right. Well, shout out to homie Isaiah Ramos 33. He said Tatum, D Mitch, Devin Booker, and Trae.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. That definitely is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so shout out to homie King Bomb 24. He also had Tatum, Trae. Wow, he had Tatum, Trae. D Book Mitchell. Okay.
Okay.
He believe in hey, that's probably Kai. That's probably Kai's burner account.
Yeah.
He got traded second.
King Kyle. King Kyle 24.
Man. So okay, so but JHill, before we move on, I got something else that I want to talk about in this pod too, right? So we dropped a poll on Twitter, man. We dropped a poll on Twitter, and we said, what NBA star do you think is most likely to change teams this offseason? We had Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Pascal Siakam. Damian Lillard killed it with 39%. In second place came Pascal Siakam, 31. In third place, Kawhi Leonard with 26. And in fourth place, Bradley Beal. JHill, if you had to list what NBA star is most likely to change teams this offseason, how would your list go? Would it be similar to this?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think Dame, I think we've seen enough in Portland to see it's not going to work out there. And it's just a matter of what he wants to do. But I think all indications show that they haven't been able to get it done. And then Pascal being second on the list with 31%, I agree with that as well. The only issue with that is we haven't really seen a clear indication that of where the direction that the Raptors want to go in, whether that's young and totally rebuild. With Siakam, who's fairly young, you know, he's kind of getting to the middle of his prime, towards the back end of it. We'll see, but I think definitely that's true. And then Kawhi was one I thought could have been higher on the list, but maybe ahead of Pascal because of, you know, just the direction of the Clippers as well. And we don't know if he wants to stay and if he wants to go to maybe another contender. If he's had, you know, 2 years there now and they haven't been able to get it done. So, and then Bradley Beal, I don't really see the Wizards moving him right now. So I think he's definitely should be at the bottom of that list. He still has another year on his contract, I believe. So there's nothing really, I think, that the Wizards can get that would be better than Bradley Beal, you know, a perennial all-star in the East, at least, and you know, second leading scorer in the league. You're not going to get much better than that if you're the Wizards in a trade. So I think it's a pretty reasonable, you know, percentage of votes to each player.
Definitely. The only surprise I do have to say that I was just surprised at how low Bradley Beal's was, like only 4%. I mean, to me, to be honest, like I thought he was going to be a bit higher than 4%, because I mean, I mean, I've been stated on the record saying this. I don't know, like I don't really see Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal being able to like do it. Like it's just two ball dominant players. I don't know, man. I don't see it happening, and I think that in my opinion, Brad, but if Brad gets shipped, you might as well ship Westbrook, because you're not going to win with just Westbrook.
Right.
So this is definitely a tough situation. I know this offseason is going to be one to watch, man. So I definitely want all the fans. I know us over here at Clutch Talk, we got something stirring up for the offseason. You guys. I'm not even going to really shed too much light on it right now. I'm going to just, when it's ready, we're going to hit y'all with this offseason fire. But I just want to promise all the listeners, all the fans, that we got some heat coming for this offseason. I know most basketball pods are dry during the offseason. Not us over here, baby. We're going to be lit. We're going to have several guests. So whatever team you like, man, go flood us up in the comments, man. Whatever fan of team you are, go flood us up in the comments, and just stay tuned for this offseason, because not only is it going to be great Clutch Shot content, it's also going to be just great NBA content for us to watch, man. So, JHill, you have any last words before, you know, we wrap it up and tomorrow get ready to see this game one?
Hey, man, I think, you know, John, I think this is going to be one of the best finals we've seen in a while, just in terms of it's so great because, you know, last year I knew the Clippers were going to win. The year before, I thought it was a sure thing for the Warriors, but I mean, it turned out being a pretty good finals as well.
You said the Clippers were going to win last year?
Sorry, did I say Clippers?
Yeah,
I said I said Clippers. Whoa. The Lakers were sure win against the Heat. Definitely the favorite. 5 or 6. possibly sweep. But I think this is just so two even teams. Obviously, I give the edge to the Suns, but I think it could go both ways, and I think we're going to see some really, really good basketball. So, man, I'm just excited. That's how I'm feeling. That's the mood. I'm excited. Let's see some balls.
I'm definitely excited, man. I'm just happy to just see, man, great basketball. Like I love watching just two teams go at it for for a 7-game series. And more than anything, man, we definitely grew up in the super team era where it was the same teams in the finals like 5-6 years straight, man. And it's still great basketball, but it can get redundant at times, man. So it's great to see new faces, to see these new stars, and see who is gonna become the new face of this new wave, man. Yeah. And me and JHill, we think it's gonna be D-Book.
D-Book all the way, man. JHill, but Giannis, show us something.
Giannis, hey, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
We'll be okay with it, yeah.
JHill, let me ask you one last question before we sign out here. Who's going to be Finals MVP?
Devin Booker.
Oh, you don't think they're going to give it to Chris Paul? Oh, what a heartbreaking story. Not heartbreaking. What a heartwarming story. He came from had to lose so many times, and now he finally gets there and he gets the Finals MVP. I think it might be Chris Paul. The NBA won a storyline.
If the NBA wants a storyline, I think definitely Chris Paul. But at the end of the day, I think it could be a situation where like we saw with Iguodala winning the MVP, and it could have been Steph. But just simply like the story and who the NBA wants to win it. But I think if Phoenix wins it, it should be because of Devin Booker being the most valuable player for them. So that's why I think D-Book. But CP, it could go hand in hand. It could go either way as well.
And if the Bucks somehow miraculously pull this off, you got Chris or Giannis?
I got Chris Middleton.
Ooh, because Chris probably gonna be the one closing that.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, man. But anyway, guys, we appreciate everyone, man, that has stayed tuned all the way to the end of the episode. Whether again you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, we love all you guys, man. We really, really appreciate all the questions, all the comments. Make sure to go run it up on Instagram, man. Make sure to go run it up on Twitter. Come debate with us, man. We love debating on there. Just talk, drop a question, drop a debate, add us, man. And I promise you, we will answer you. We will debate. We'll go at it, and we'll even, showcase you and on the show, bring you on the show, and we'll talk about it, man. So make sure to go run it up on Instagram, run it up on Twitter, run it up on TikTok, man, and get ready for these finals, man. Because tomorrow, we're giving away recording time. We're recording on Monday. Tomorrow, Tuesday, July 6th will be game 1. I'm excited. I'm ready, and I cannot wait. Thank you, JHill. This was a great episode, man.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
All right, y'all. We out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.